Coach, let's start with the third quarter. What changed in the third quarter? Was it just a matter of Utah State just executing better, or was it something on your guys' end?
My honest opinion, we're a terrible football team. You can't play for spurts and do things right. And, I mean, I'm on defense, give up 21 points in a 7-minute period is absolutely ridiculous. And it was the big play again. But you've got a corner that's in perfect position to make a play, and he doesn't. I mean, that ball should be intercepted on the very first touchdown. I mean, Coach Long threw him on a play over and over, and we don't make it. The second one, the young man said he hyperextended his knee and comes up short. The third one is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you get an unblocked guy that comes up there and lowers his head. It does tackles completely opposite of the way he's coached to. Doesn't run his feet and doesn't even get the tight end to stumble. I mean, that's terrible football. Has nothing to do with ability because they're in the right spot to make the play. And so we're a bad football team. And my message to them in the locker room was exactly that. We're a terrible football team, and I've been around some really good football teams. And the only way you get better is you show up to work the next opportunity you get, which will be tomorrow. And then we get a couple days to prepare for Wyoming. And the ones in the locker room that think the coaches are full of nonsense, I hope they show their faces and because there's some of that. I'm sure some of them think that these guys, I mean, they're mean, they don't know what they're talking about, and that's fine. It'll rear its ugly head. It is. I mean, now that we've lost 5 in a row, you'll find out the true character of guys, and we need to. And I want the ones that want to learn how to fight, that are willing to look themselves in the mirror and realize that they need to be better, and the only way to be better is to work. And then obviously we'll have to recruit some better players to continue to grow the program to the things that I talk about, because we don't have good enough players right now to win a championship. We don't. And if they're not willing to work hard enough, which I'm not saying they're not, I just want the ones to show up that are, and then they'll give us an opportunity to win. Now we're going to keep coaching them, and we're going to keep, because it's who we inherited and it's who we got. And that ain't changing for the next 5 months. And then in another year, it'll some attrition will happen, and we'll continue to bring in classes. But they are who we are, and so we've got to continue to coach them and get them to buy into what we're doing.
Got an update on Trey?
I don't. They took him to get x-rays on his ribs. It was a rib injury. He took a couple shots on that last drive. They got him to calm down in the tent. I mean, those things hurt. I don't know if you've ever had bruised ribs, but if they're broken, it's even worse. I didn't get the results of that, the x-rays from that, but they said he was better. He was able to talk, and he was calmed down enough to talk and tell them what happened. So we'll find out here. But he'll be very uncomfortable. So if we don't have Tavaka back next week, you saw Connor out there. I'm proud of Connor. He went out there and fought. They weren't always blocking for him great, but he fought his tail off, and he actually gave us a chance to get back in the ball game. If we could tackle somebody on defense on the 3rd and 5 when we get 4 guys to the quarterback and we hang on to him, we'll have a chance to go down there and tie up the ball game and go for 2 and see if we can win. But we can't seem to make a tackle when it's necessary. Go ahead, Will.
Coach, by my count, you've been outscored, I think, 62-21 in the third quarter this year. And I know you can talk all day about adjustments, but is it just that these guys come out of the locker room maybe just flat in the second half?
I mean, if you can say if that's the case, then shame on their competitive spirit. If they're playing not to lose because we had the lead, shame on them because we've lost 13, 14 in a row now. I mean, you can say they come out flat, and if we accept that as a team, there's another loser's mentality. It wasn't about adjustments today. I mean, we've got guys in perfect spots to make plays, and we don't make plays. So, I mean, it's hard for me because of the issues that we're having are in the secondary. And, I mean, you throw guys on plays, they got to make them. And they're there. We got to make plays. I mean, it's simple. It's not hard. And it's frustrating because I've never been around it. So we got to keep coaching them so that they can make the plays. Or we got to find better ones. I mean, it's pretty simple. And the patience of that happening is awful on everybody. I mean, no Lobo fan wants to sit through the 14th straight loss and bad players and bad coaches. So it's frustrating as all get out. I get it.
Hey, Coach, is it more of a mental thing? It seems like there's such a contrast between the team that played in the first half and in the second half. It's like either they're getting worn down or mentally worn down. It just seems something. I mean, that was a lot of points in a short amount of time, but it seemed like a completely different team in the first half.
Yeah, it was a complete letdown. I think we're a very, very mentally weak football team. Roger, I do. We don't handle adversity very well. I mean, if every once in a while you're going to get beat in man-to-man coverage, that's okay. You can't let one touchdown turn into 28 points in 7 minutes. That is all here, because it's not like we're going against guys that are superior to us. When you play a team that is superior to you and that happens, then you have an idea going in. They're not superior to us. And when you have an opportunity to make plays, you have to make them. We're very weak-minded, and we don't handle adversity at all.
Coach, your quarterbacks are taking some ferocious hits, man. I mean, like Connor, that shot that he took in the fourth quarter was big, but aside from that, the TV broadcast tonight showed Trey's hand was bloody and scraped early in the game. Is that last week we had Kyle come on? He took the blame for the offensive line, but is it as simple as pointing at the offensive line and saying that these guys aren't protecting them?
I mean, some of them on some of the pass protections, but not on some of the running plays. And in the process of building a culture of what we want, those are some of the risks that you're willing to take. Trey's a good football player. Trey is a tough young man. Okay, we need more like him. At times I feel like, and I'm probably wrong, and it's when you go back and watch the tape, you see good and bad. It's never as good as you think. It's never as bad as you think. But I think we're a bad football team. But there's times out there that I feel like there's a couple of guys really competing and fighting with what we want. And I think Trey's one of them all the time. On defense, I think Tavion's one of them. Tavion Combs, a true freshman, I think he's one of them all the time. They make mistakes, but they play really, really hard, and they fight through some of those mistakes. Now, as we become a better football team, we'll probably take less chances with our quarterback. But right now we're trying to establish who we are and have opportunities to win. And right now Trey's one of our better football players since Tavaka's out. And he gives us an opportunity to win by some of those things. If Trey doesn't run the ball the way he does, we got no chance to be in these games. And as we set the culture of what we're trying to do around here, I think someone like Trey, having other guys see how he's willing to throw his body out there, that stuff is contagious, because we got too many of them that don't want to be. They're afraid of success. They're afraid that if they put it all out there and it doesn't come to fruition, it's going to hurt. Well, that's a shame, and we need to get rid of that. And we will. Eventually we will. And it's frustrating as all get out right now, but we'll get rid of it eventually. Who else? All right. Thanks, guys. I hope on this outside of an ugly football game, there are things in life that are still important. So I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed your days with your families. We get to see our families in a couple of weeks, which I'm excited to see my family. But I'm still excited that we have the opportunity to compete. As bad as we are, as bad as a football team as we are, we still get the opportunity to wake up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror and compete. So happy Thanksgiving. Cherish your loved ones. Stay safe so we can get rid of this coronavirus so we can go back to some kind of normalcy. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thanks.